Well, why are you here? There must be something you wish to know, to learn. You've traveled an awfully long way. Are you thirsty?
Yes, I'm thirsty. I'm always thirsty. I've drank water for my entire life, every day for my entire life, and I'm still thirsty. Is this some kind of fucking joke?
It is. I'm sorry, it never gets old.
Why did you make us like this? Why did you make me like this?
What if your creations were to ask that of you? All the systems that you've created to destroy and exploit, all the tools that you imagine to rape and to pillage, to make more effective, to make more industrious, and to make more good? And what of my creations? What of my work you trample on and you curse me when I do not come to your aid?
I'm gonna go get painting now. Okay. Sounds good. Yeah. Okay. Do you want, like, are you thirsty? You're hungry? You want some from looking at the viewfinder again? I'm supposed to be making eye contact, right? You want me to make eye contact? You like that? Yeah. Yeah. I'm doing it. I can't stop looking at myself. Am I a narcissist? Maybe. Definitely. Yeah, for sure. Textbook narcissist, man. Maybe I should print some shit on the back. What y'all think? Put some shit on the back, too. Nah, I'm leaving the back blank. I'm in charge. I'm the boss. I'm the cake boss. You buy cakes from me. I'm the boss. I'm the big man. This is how I am. This is how I get hyped before I do a painting. You know? How Ronaldo, he goes, Sue! After he scores a goal. I go, oh, man. Okay. I wish I had red. I don't really need red, I guess. We're just gonna go with blues, yellows, blacks. I mean...
Wasson's discovery reached the CIA quickly. Dr. James Moore, a University of Delaware chemist, secretly served the CIA preparing deadly chemicals on short notice. Moore was instructed to get close to Wasson and accompany him on another trip to Mexico to get the magic mushrooms. Internal documents show the CIA felt a drug derived from the mushrooms could remain an agency secret. What in the world were they looking for with the magic mushrooms?
I think the best answer to that is that they were looking for fundamental information on compounds that would be capable of causing changes in behavior, changes in mental attitude.
Did you ever consider what would have happened if any of these substances were given to, say, unwitting people?
Oh, I don't remember having considered that specifically.
What if you... I trust perhaps you've thought about it.
Well, I haven't worried about it. Your question again, what would I have thought had I known that
any of these substances would
have been given to
unwitting persons?
You mean a hostile agent of another government?
No, I mean
that was probably one of the things I had in mind.
I mean testing it out on an American citizen.
I guess I must seem very, very cold-blooded about this, but I don't recall ever having been very much preoccupied with that issue.
But many drugs were tested in this way. A decision was made at the highest levels of the CIA to do testing on unwitting Americans. As one CIA document says, such testing would be operationally realistic. A former CIA official who worked on these programs describes for the first time how the decision was made. He did not wish to be filmed or recorded. Thus his remarks are read by someone else.
I think every last one of us felt sorry to attempt this kind of thing. We knew we were crossing the line. Every decent kid knows he shouldn't steal, but he does it sometimes. We knew damn well we didn't want anyone else to know what we were doing.
The decision was made to do testing on unwitting victims. It was decided they should be on the fringes of society because they were most vulnerable.
It was the borderline underworld, prostitutes, drug addicts, and other small-timers who would be powerless to seek any kind of revenge in case they found out.
So, in typical Diary fashion, I thought I found a cheat for infinite battery life, but then it just said it overheated and it had to shut off anyway. So, while I was waiting for that to cool down, I did a little underdrawing for our friend here, which looks pretty nifty, not too shabby. Kind of a little upset about the foot getting cut off there, but you know, there's only so much you can do in this life. Plus, I know y'all fucking freaky ass foot fetish niggas out there was waiting for me to draw that shit, and I'm not gonna give y'all the satisfaction because I'm too real for that. So, my camera will probably die again very soon. So I'm going to do a little underpainting of this. It's probably going to die while that's happening. Hopefully I can get my backup battery in there soon. So, yeah, enjoy.
And as their predecessors had a decade earlier, the CIA turned to George White for help. White was now a high-ranking narcotics official, and by this time, the stories about George White were legendary.
So the waiter says, "You know, may I help you, monsieur?" And George White was busy talking with me. Paid no attention to the waiter, so the waiter tapped him on the shoulder, says, "You know, may I help you, monsieur?" George White turned around, whipped his gun out, and stuck it in the guy's face like this in this crowded restaurant.
George White did not mind bending the law, and he knew the street well. He was the ideal choice for what the CIA had in mind.
We were Ivy League, white, middle class. We were naive, totally naive about this, and he felt pretty expert. He knew the whores, the pimps, the people who brought in the drugs.
White set up so-called safe houses for the CIA in New York, here in Greenwich Village, and later in San Francisco, in this hotel, and in an apartment atop Telegraph Hill with a commanding view of San Francisco Bay. While the existence of these safe houses was disclosed last year, details of what took place within them has not been told. A former CIA official who worked in the safe houses reveals that they were used not only for drug testing, but to study sexual behavior and how it could be used to manipulate people.
We did quite a study of prostitutes and their behavior. How do you take a woman who is willing to use her body to get money out of a guy to get him to talk about things which are much more important, like state secrets? We learned a lot about human nature in the bedroom. We started to pick up knowledge that could be used in operations.
There would be victims in all of this, but as the agency knew, they couldn't fight back. Some entries from George White's diaries. Clarice gets horrors. Janet, sky high. As one agency memo says, we have no answer to the moral question. The safe houses were not the only testing grounds. Millions of dollars would be spent on LSD research at universities throughout the country. And word would begin to spread on campus about this so-called mind-blowing drug. And suddenly, there was the counterculture of the 60s.
I give the CIA a total credit for sponsoring and initiating the entire consciousness movement, counterculture events of the 1960s.
Dr. Timothy Leary, the 1960s Johnny Appleseed of LSD.
The CIA funded and supported and encouraged hundreds of young psychiatrists to experiment with this drug. The fallout from that was that the young psychologists began taking it themselves, discovering that it was an intelligence-enhancing, consciousness-raising experience.
I know that some of the studies in which the CIA had supported used as subjects people who later became strong proselytizers of LSD. So, in that sense, yes, I think it did sustain the perpetuation of the use of the drug. And it's rather ironic, isn't it,